I'm not going to mention those. Uh, in general, 7 people have died, according to the information of the local authorities. 11 people have been hurt, have been injured. Um, in general, to put out this fire at this technical service station, we had 15 people and 13 technical units. The space of the fire was 500 square meters. The situation is such that, as far as other cities in Ukraine, the all the time under shellings. We're talking about Kreminna, we're talking about Severodonetsk, we're talking about Lviv and other places. And we can only thank our servicemen for performing their duties and working to the extent of their abilities. That's the brief information I have. If there are questions from the room, if there are questions from the room, Andriy Shevchenko, Mediacentru Ukraine, could you tell us about the situation in the suburbs of Kyiv? We understand that your colleagues are in Borodyanka, Bucha, Irpin. They're taking apart rubble, and there's a lot of work that has to do with demining that other services and other detachments are working on. What would you say the situation near Kyiv is now? Yeah, there's constant work. Our servicemen are working there all the time. We also have volunteers joining in the effort, helping clear the rubble and find the bodies of the dead. In Borodyanka, the work in the downtown districts of the city have completed. 7 multi-story residential buildings have been harmed. The servicemen of the emergency services have worked there almost every day looking for people, removing documents, clearing dangerous structures. As of yesterday, according to our statistics, we've had 41 dead people removed from under rubble. We keep working in Hostomel. We keep working in Bucha. And by the way, I wanted to say that we've had our international partners join in the efforts, volunteers from the United States, professional firemen, and emergency services from the US and Australia, as well as Poland and Germany. They have joined in our efforts. And together with us, they've worked also in Borodyanka and Hostomel and Irpin, all 3 locations. Does this mean that these are 11 volunteers? Does this mean that people from different countries coming in to do this work by hand, so to speak? Yes, we've had an international center for the coordination of international volunteers, for international teams, where this center works with those teams, those volunteer teams, including professional firemen who've volunteered to join in clearing the rubble and liquidating the consequences of Russian missile strikes. And we have 11 people currently working from these countries that I've mentioned: United States, Australia, Poland, and Germany. Yesterday we had 3 people join us from Portugal. They are also working in the Kyiv region at the moment, and we're also we're in talks, we're in negotiations with a team from Israel, a team from Turkey, and we've also talked to Norwegians. So people from these different countries want to come in and help. And how do we organize this work? We discover their equipment, their capacities, their ability to work in these areas. Then we analyze the information they provide as to what they can do locally. And then after that, we get them involved and deployed in various works and various areas. Particularly right now, they're working in the Kyiv region. I just wanted to clarify, because information from our briefing is used by international journalists and people who will hear this information from abroad. They might have the desire to come to Ukraine and join in this noble effort. Who do they contact? Who do they reach out to? How do they find you? The Emergency Services of Ukraine has an international center, international coordination center for the volunteer of these volunteer teams. So is this at the official website of the State Emergency Service? Where's the contact information? You can talk to us either. You can write us at our official email. Official email. Okay, and you will send them. Yes, and we determine what kind of people these are, what kind of profession, and how we might involve them, what kind of equipment we might need, and what kind of equipment they might have, what kind of work they might do. This kind of work is constantly being done, and we'll look into how needed these people are here or in other locations. Thank you. Got it. Do we have questions from the room, from the journalists? Yes.
Thank you very much for your service. And
wait a minute, please.
One moment, please.
We needed a translation for the speaker. Just a moment, please.
all right, okay, good. Thank you. I have plenty of time
we are
waiting for
ready.
you. Ready to go?
Can you repeat your question, please, sir?
Okay, and my question is the airstrike we experienced last night, and well, there's two, and early morning another one, and it looks like a struck maybe continually. The Lviv in this city might have another one. So, do you have National Emergency Service have a emergency strategy if Russia attack this city's gas supply or electricity supply? And so, do you have any other like emergency service you can provide for the residency in the Lviv and that they are safe? Thank you very much.
Thank you for that question. I would say the following. As far as the State Emergency Service of Ukraine, the strategy is there, and this work is being coordinated. We're working, numerous services are involved, including the electricity services and the water services, but all of these are coordinated together centrally. So, for instance, we're bringing in water to Mykolaiv. You know, there's problems with water, access to water. So this is as far as the State Emergency Service is concerned. 50 tons of water were brought in the last 24 hours. We bring in water to the Luhansk region. We have a similar problem there. The Odessa region and Zaporizhzhia region, they're also working into supplying water and sometimes supplying food and humanitarian aid. As far as other services, of course, the electricity service, Ukrenergo, is constantly joining us, and the water reservoirs, water services are all working, coordinating together. So, I mean, that's how we do it now. There is a strategy, yes. We have plans. We have the involvement of various services in the liquidation of particular emergencies. These plans are there for peacetime and for wartime. So that's the situation. Can we also talk about an important aspect, the demining in deoccupied territories? What regions, what prospects, what achievements, what long-term, what are we looking at? Long-term, maybe years ahead? You know, how long do we have to inform the population and the citizenry of the dangers that are waiting them when they're going, you know, hunting or going picking mushrooms? Okay, just maybe a little statistic before. So in 24 hours we have demined almost 1,500 explosive devices and 1 air bomb, and we've cleared the territory of the area of over 500 hectares. If we look at all the devices that have been already demined by these by the emergency service, we're talking over 80,000 devices, including almost 2,000 air bombs. That's the situation. Of course, this is just the beginning of our work. We are working the most in the Kharkiv region, in the Donetsk region, Luhansk region, Sumy, Chernihiv, Mykolaiv regions. Those are the regions in which of course, there was either combat or there were missile strikes on these regions. As far as the terms in which we will be able to achieve these objectives, it's very hard because right now we're still demining the consequences of the First and the Second World War. That is still happening. In general, the overall area of pollution by explosive devices comprises about 300,000 square meters, massive territories. So, of course, this is many years. We're looking at many, many years of work. Are there ideas, are there assessments of how long it will take before we come back to some sort of normal, roughly? I can't say this. I don't know. It's not even up to. It's not even up to any kind of ideas. It's about. It also depends on the actions of the Russian Federation, because of course there's still a war going on. We don't know what amount of devices are now in occupied territories, and we will of course know all of this once the war is over, once after victory, where we can assess these territories and determine the amount of work and the number of personnel and technology that we have to involve, the national police, the explosive teams, and other services that can perform this demining work. So it's very hard to make any kind of. We need intelligence. Now, as far as specific advice to the population, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to ask. Yeah, advice to the population. Well, yesterday, the day before yesterday, we have published these photographs, and the national police have published these photographs, and the photographs of the booby traps, of various explosive devices, in order so that people can imagine, have a sense of what they might face when they come back to deoccupied territories. Now, I should say that there are many hidden dangers, many pitfalls. What's the most dangerous is mines, landmines, including mines that have distance detonators, or detonators that work that are seismically sensitive. Those are some of the most dangerous. There are the elements of explosive devices. So what are these cassette bombs? So when you're being shot at with like reactive fires, many of them explode in the air and cover a lot of territories, and with these small explosive dangerous objects, and people sometimes don't even know what that is, what the danger is of these cluster weapons, cluster munitions. They might explode immediately, they might explode after some time. So these kinds of you should never approach these munitions, these cluster weapons. If you see a dangerous, suspicious object, you should call 101 or 102. We have professionals who work with these kinds of devices professionally, and so even if you approach, please return the way you came. You must put as much distance between yourself and the device, even 100, 200 meters, to preclude any kind of deployment of this explosive. We should also stress, perhaps, for our Ukrainian farmers who might be taking tanks home, that they shouldn't be taking any of this home, thinking that they might need it around the house or around the farm. Thank you very much, Oleksandr, for being with us, for this information that you've provided. We will thank you and say goodbye. Slava Ukraini.